Before we start, I want you to think about one sentence you've heard your whole life. Maybe it's, in our family, we overthink. In our family, we don't talk about feelings. In our family, everyone is always stressed. Or that's just how we are. At some point, those sentences stop sounding like patterns and they start sounding like personality or even fate. But what if they're not? What if what repeats in families isn't destiny, but regulation?
Hi, I'm Irene. Welcome to Beyond Survival. This is a space where we slow down and learn how to feel safe in our own lives again.
Today, we're starting with something foundational. What actually gets passed down in families? Most people think they inherit personality traits, anxiety, silence, anger, workaholism. But personality is often patterned adaptation. When you were between 0 and 6 years old, your brain wasn't logical. It was absorbent. You didn't decide who to become. You adapted to survive emotionally. If the house felt tense, you became alert. If emotions were dismissed, you became quiet. If love felt conditional, you became high achieving. Children don't think this is unhealthy. They think, oh, this keeps me connected. And connection equals safety. So the body memorizes it. Patterns that start before conscious memory feel permanent. If you've always been overthinking, it feels like this is just me. If you've always felt responsible for everyone, it feels like identity. But identity built in survival mode is protection, not essence. For example, if your home was unpredictable, your nervous system learned to scan. Scanning becomes hyper-awareness. Hyper-awareness becomes anxiety. Anxiety becomes personality. But at its core, it was adaptation. That's why two siblings in the same home can look different. One becomes the achiever, one becomes the peacemaker. Different strategies, same survival. Let's bring this closer to real life. Maybe in your family, rest feels lazy, or talking about feelings feel awkward, or maybe conflict is avoided, or everyone is always busy. Money feels stressful even when there's enough. These don't sound dramatic, but they shape nervous systems. If you grew up in constant stress, calm can feel unfamiliar. If you grew up equating love with performance, rest can feel unsafe. If you grew up avoiding emotions, intimacy can feel overwhelming. The body doesn't ask, is this healthy? It asks, is it familiar? And familiar feels safe, even when it's exhausting. Here's something most people don't talk about. When you start changing, it can feel uncomfortable in your body. If everyone in your family is reactive and you choose calm, you might feel distant. If everyone works constantly and you choose balance, you might feel guilty. And this is unconscious loyalty. Your nervous system learned belonging equals matching. So when you regulate differently, it can feel like you're separating. Growth is not just internal, it's relational. That's why breaking patterns takes courage. This conversation is not about blaming parents. They were patterned too. They survived what they knew. Generational patterns are not about bad people. They are about unexamined regulation. And you might be the first one in your lineage with enough safety to question it. That's not betrayal. That's evolution. You don't break patterns with force. You break them with awareness. Next time you overthink, pause and ask, what is my body protecting me from? Next time you feel guilty resting, ask, when did rest become unsafe? Next time you shut down emotionally, ask, who did I learn this from? Then regulate. Slow breath, long exhale, relax shoulders, soften jaw. Teach your body safety in small moments. Repeated safety becomes new identity. You are not cursed. You are not broken. You are patterned. And patterns are learned, which means they can change. What repeats in families is not fate, it's familiarity. And familiarity can shift the moment awareness enters. If this resonates, stay with this channel because this is just the beginning of moving beyond survival.